In regard to the latest abomination perpetrated on the American people and most explicitly on women as a gender and a group, namely the overturning and repudiation of Roe v. Wade and 50 years of fundamental rights and freedoms, what these 6 radical right-wing activist judges have accomplished is almost certain to be the opposite of what they're intending. When I look at the chart for the origin of Roe back in 1973, consider what it points to, and then look for insights via the 1992 Casey challenge and consequent modifications to Roe, and finally the chart for the current decision to overturn, which came yesterday, June 24th, 2022, in Washington at around 10:10 a.m. My impression is that this decision, instead of resulting in the long-term, much less permanent removal of this fundamental right, is instead extremely likely to result in 2 unintended consequences. The first would be the near-term enshrining of these freedoms into law. My guess is that this would happen sometime within 2 years or 5 at most. The second is that in doing this, these corrupt jurists are putting the Republican Party in a very awkward position going into the 2022 midterms because, despite ample evidence that the current GOP brand on all levels is decadent and corrupt, they did have a pretty good plan going into the upcoming elections by screaming about gas prices, knowing very well that it is a global problem currently afflicting the entire planet, and trying to just pin this on Biden's supposed incompetence, which is extremely rich, given the staggering stupidity and corruption of the idiot they backed at every turn for the last few years. But now that their very unfairly appointed judges have pulled Roe down, they will be forced to deal with what is sure to be a tsunami onslaught of Democratic rage, especially from women, and very rightly so, on account of this outrageous denial of fundamental rights. The GOP is the party of freedom, right? Sure. As always, remember that GOP doesn't stand for grand old party. In modern days, the G is for gaslighting. What they mean by freedom is the freedom they want to stick it to you however they can and want, so that you will conform to their 18th century ideas. In the meantime, all we can do is remain steadfast and composed, and of course, determined to vote against these a-holes at every opportunity. In tomorrow's Patreon astrology class, I will be doing a detailed analysis of the Roe issue, and I'll be sure to follow up with videos on this channel explaining the nuts and bolts of the astrology. I will also be doing a session with Linda G this coming week, during which I'm quite sure this topic will be front and center.